Jury resumes deliberations in New York v. Trump trial.
This is communist shit, dude. Like this is show me the man and I'll find the crime.
Yes.
That is not what the United States is built around. If they don't all have to agree, so does that mean 3 can think he was guilty of one thing, 3 can think he was guilty of even something else? And because they all think he's guilty of something, he's guilty?
That's right. They're going to use the third ranking official from Biden's Department of Justice and bring them in to assist at the trial court level prosecution of a presidential candidate on made up charges, and then not allow the president to campaign or talk about it, and not give the jury the actual physical copy of the jury instructions, and not require unanimity on the predicate offense. I mean, it's like, this is what a banana republic looks like.
And this doesn't matter if you're left or right or in between. If they can do that to him, that means they could do it to you. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to motherfucking reality. Guys, today we have Andy and DJ
Cruise the motherfucking internet.
That's what we're going to do. We have a very special Cruise the Internet today, and if you don't know what Cruise the Internet's about, it's about that.
Mm-hmm.
We put up topics on the screen. We talk about what's true, what's not true. We speculate on what we think is going on, and then we talk about how we, the people, have to be the solution to these problems going on. Now, today, I'm just going to get right into it. We are joined again by our good friend, Mr. Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General of Missouri. What's happening, bro?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me back.
It's great to see you.
Good to see y'all.
How's everything going?
It's good, man. Staying busy, fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I see that.
A.G. Bailey's my homie.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, he's putting in work, man.
Yeah, you
It just
are,
makes me
dude.
proud to be a Missourian.
Trying to keep up with y'all.
Well,
We got some Patriots here in Missouri, man.
we do, man.
You know,
we do. That is
Eric
good
Schmidt,
to see.
now Andrew Bailey, you know, DJ.
DJ,
Yeah.
you know, first black patriot in Missouri.
You're going to play that cricket sound right there, you know.
No, man. A.G. Bailey, Mr. A.G., you've been putting in work, man.
Man, I just
You really
I appreciate the opportunity to get to serve, and appreciate getting lumped in with you and Senator Eric Schmidt, man. That's good company. I feel like
That's right.
I've
That's
made
like
it.
the all-star of Patriots.
You know what's funny though, man? There's been a few times, and I'm still gonna knock on wood that we don't have to do this, but you know, I ride my bike, and down on 55, riding 55 south on my bike, you know, I might press the speed a little bit, and every time it plays in my head, man, it's like, man, I pray I'd never have to call Andrew Bailey to help me out of this situation, bro, because I'm highway patrolman, man.
Listen, there's levels to this.
They don't play.
You don't go straight to the AG.
I'm saying, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm gonna call Andrew.
No, you work up the chain.
So I just hope you never get a call from me, man.
Hey, man, I'm there for you, brother.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, you hear that? Don't pull me over.
Don't tell him that. He'll be calling you at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, man.
You said to call.
You said to call. No, but man, you've been putting in some work, man. We got a few things happening right now. I saw you on the Harrison Butker stuff.
Yeah.
Hopping in on that. How's that going?
Yeah, man. Look, this was an instance in which Harrison Butker expressed his sincerely held Christian beliefs at a Christian college to an audience that applauded at a commencement ceremony for graduation. And the left lost their minds.
Lost their mind, bro.
But the problem here is that the city of Kansas City had an X account, a Twitter account, where they essentially doxed Harrison Butker. Why would they do that? If not to retaliate against him for his expression of his religious beliefs. Well, thank God we have the First Amendment to the United States Constitution that says we are allowed to express ourselves and allowed to exercise religion as we see fit, absent government intrusion. And so that was an egregious example of, again, government retaliating against an individual for their sincerely held religious beliefs. We have a Missouri Human Rights Act that provides the Attorney General of Enforcement Authority, and we've demanded certain records from the city of Kansas City to determine who manages a social media account and what kind of safeguards are in place to prevent this from happening again.
Did they fire that? I think I saw somebody fired the guy who did it or something like that. But like,
Yeah.
you're still not safe, bro.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's accountability, but not transparency, right?
Right.
We still don't know
Who it was.
or what control measures are in place to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, dude, I feel like a lot of times that we see these things happen, it's just, we see, because social media is still new, right? Like, it's not like it's been around for 100 years. And I feel like a lot of companies are still adjusting to who has the power to say and speak on behalf of the company. Because I could tell you this, there's been a number of times where I've seen stuff put out of here, and I'm like, call them back. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Take that shit down. Not very often, but I mean, it happens. And I wonder if that was the case there.
Yeah, I think so. Because
somebody with their own beliefs,
sure,
just expressing them through the company channel.
Yeah, I think there's a distinction here when it's the government, and I think that's really when it became problematic. And I also think that but to your point, I mean, the very next day, the mayor of Kansas City went on a talk radio show and said he apologized. Now, what he apologized for was not the content of the retaliation. He apologized that it was on the wrong medium of communication. We just used the wrong Twitter account, essentially. So kind of a hollow apology.
Dude, how are we to this point? Like, legitimately, it feels like we're at this point. Well, I do feel like culture's changing. So I'll say that first. I know it is. But it's so bizarre to me that the dynamic between the left and the right when it comes to culture, that the left has no problem attacking, insulting, doxing, and the right, like, they're always like, we'll take the high road. We don't do those kind of things. It's like, dude, like, it's like this double standard where, like, if we say anybody with common sense that's centrist or to the right says anything that they don't like, they throw a fit. But the minute they get it back, dude, they can't handle it at all. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. That high road stuff is weird, man, because it's like, we're trying to still play this nice game where we feel like there's rules, and it's like, that's not the game they're playing.
Listen, man, if you're a veteran, if you're in a battle and people are shooting at you, and you look at the guys and be like, I feel bad for these guys. I don't really want to shoot them back. What happens? You get killed. And we have to get to a point where the people who are center and center right are speaking up and saying, hey, fuck off. This isn't cool. Because, dude, he did nothing wrong. He did nothing. He's a Benedictine. It's a Christian. It's a Catholic school. This is the beliefs. If you don't like those beliefs, don't go to the Catholic school. Why is this so hard for people to understand?
Well, and if you listen to, it's like a 19-minute commencement speech.
It was awesome.
Yeah, the first part of his speech, what he said was that the left wants to drive Christian thought, expression of Christian belief from the public domain, from public discourse. They don't want to hear it. They want to silence any voice. And then what happened?
They proved the point.
They proved the point. It was prophetic.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You've been putting in some work though, man. So you're on the campaign trail now.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's good, man. It's good. We're in a good spot. People have seen the work we've done fighting and winning for Missourians for the past 18 months, and they're excited about it. Between removing the Soros-backed prosecutor in the city of St. Louis that was unlawfully refusing to do her job, to shutting down the, transgender child mutilation industry in the state of Missouri, to increasing criminal prosecution across the state by 133% just to clean up some of the criminal behavior and hold wrongdoers accountable and find justice for victims. Those are signature wins that we've scored in a short period of time. This is show me state. Results matter.
Yeah. Where is Kim? She's still playing Where's Waldo?
She's in the wind, man. Disappeared.
She's laying low.
I like playing hide and go seek. I mean, if you guys need some help, just call me. I can help out a little bit. She's playing fucking Where's Waldo, man.
We still no Kim Gardner, huh?
No, none. I don't know.
Shocking.
She's probably in like Aruba or something. Showing.
Yeah, you probably paid for it too.
Oh man, that's wild.
Well, me too.
Well, sweet, man. Well, I'm happy he's here, man. It's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man. Well, I want to bring something up before we get to our headlines. Not sure if you guys saw this, but we talk about this temperature change, and we talk about, lifelong Democrats saying like, hey, we're done with this stuff, right? And this is an interesting story coming right out of California. This headline reads, Democrat California Senator blast party over pedophile jail sentence fight. I'm done with us. Did you guys see this?
I did.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So let's dive into this a little bit. A California state senator fighting to throw pedophiles into prison for longer has blasted progressive members of her own party for trying to water down the new law, declaring, quote, I'm done with us. Democratic Senator Susan Eggman, who reps part of the San Juan?
Joaquin.
Joaquin?
Yeah.
I should have known that. That sounds...
You should have.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Who reps part of San Joaquin County, just outside of San Francisco, gave the fiery speech on the Senate floor last Thursday when lawmakers were weighing legislation that could make it a felony to purchase or solicit a minor for commercial sex in the Golden State. Let's watch the video. Let's see what she has to say.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'd like to say as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it. As a mental health professional and as a social worker, I can tell you I've spent my entire career working with people who have been wounded. I'm not going to say beyond repair, but they have been wounded to their core by the abuse that's been heaped on them, oftentimes by those that they love and look to protect them. And if their parents won't do it, then by God, we should.
Now, I think she let a little cat out the bag there, a little Freudian slip up there.
You mean like where she said, I've been protecting them?
I don't want to send more black and brown people to jail. Who's doing it? You know what I'm saying? Like she made a little slip up there.
Wait,
but,
I didn't think that.
You didn't take that? Oh,
no,
no.
I thought the slip up was she basically said, we've been protecting these people.
Yeah.
Like out in the open.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
why is that? Why are these people like, where does, like, you've been around these people, like where does this come from that they want to protect and like minimize like sex crimes and molestation and abuse? Like what?
Yeah,
because like we out here, we all just think they're pedophiles too, right?
Right.
This is what they're into.
Yeah,
right?
you're in a conspiracy to assist these people in the target offense of pedophilia. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. To your point earlier, as a country, we used to elevate the rules of the game above the players and the outcomes, and the rules mattered. And the left and the right might disagree. We all agreed that we wanted a safer streets, better economy, jobs for folks. Simple things. How we got there, we would have policy disagreement over that. Now the left has completely jettisoned. The woke left has completely abandoned any pretense of attempting to achieve pragmatic good, practical good. They don't care. Like they no longer would even acknowledge that there is good and bad in a moral sense. In other words, they're okay with child sex trafficking. They don't want to stiffen penalties to punish child sex traffickers. That's insanity. I mean, I don't know how you're no longer playing by the same set of the rules or when you can't even agree that there's practical good from protecting kids from sexual assault. How do you even begin a conversation?
Dude, it's common sense, man. And it's very common ground that people can be united on. No normal person that I've ever met could sit back and say, hey, somebody who abuses kids or molests kids or is a pedophile or a MAP or whatever they call them deserves lighter treatment, like deserves a break. Like to me, where we come from here, we put, we don't put, but we would like to put those people in wood chippers.
That's where they belong, man.
Yeah.
That's where, the only thing that's worse than a pedophile is somebody that protects them. That's just my stance, man. I think you're just as guilty. You're just as guilty.
I just don't, I have a hard time figuring out where the fuck this becomes a position. Like, how is this a position?
Yeah.
Like, how did we come up? Like, how do these guys think, hey, you know what we should do? We should stand up and protect these people that do this shit to kids. Like where's the virtue in that? Like who does that appeal to?
Well, and it's completely ignoring the actual victim of the crime.
Yeah.
The kid. And to
and
her,
dismissing it like it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, and to her point, I mean, look, you may send a adult sex offender to prison for a term of years. That kid's going to live with that the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, they're serving a life sentence.
All right. I think there is a very loud stench of evil undertone with people like that support stuff like that.
Dude.
To me, there's no other explanation for it, man. Like that is evil. That's evil stuff.
So what do you think? Wood chippers?
I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no punishment too stiff for those who would.
We need
harsher
punishments, man.
Yeah.
We need harsher punishments in this country.
I got it, dude. We're gonna next Andrew Bailey campaign commercial.
Let's do it.
He's driving the tank with the wood chipper getting hauled behind it.
In tow.
Yeah,
I love it.
With the helmet on and everything.
I love it, man. Well, guys, let's get into these headlines. Remember, if you want to see any of these articles, pictures, links, videos, go to andyfrisella.com. You guys can find that link there. With that being said, headline number one. Let's talk about it. It's the talk of the town, talk of the country. Headline reads: Jury resumes deliberations in New York v. Trump trial. This I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. So let's get through some of the fast facts here. We got the jury enters its second day of deliberations in former President Trump's New York criminal trial on Thursday. At the time of the recording, they're still in deliberations. There is no timeline for how long deliberations will last, but a verdict could come down as soon as Thursday afternoon. This is Fox News reporting. And the third fast fact here is that Trump and his defense team are required to be present for the deliberations so they can hear any potential notes from the juries. Now, a couple of interesting things that's been going on. There's been a poll that came out. CNN had their own version of this as well. The new poll reveals how Trump trial verdict will impact the 2024 election, where they found that 2/3 of registered voters nationwide that were questioned in this NPR, PBS, NewsHour, Marist national poll that was released, they 2/3 of people said a guilty verdict in the trial would make no difference to their vote in the presidential election. And then 17% said a conviction of Trump would make them less likely to vote for him. And 15% said they'd be more inclined to support the former president at the ballot box. So it doesn't say explicitly what the 2/3, if they're voting for or against. It just said that they're not changing their minds. So whatever that may be. And of course, there's been a monopoly on this stuff. You go to any of the MSM heads, they have spent a collective of 10 hours. That's 10 consecutive hours of nonstop talk about this case just in the last week. So you think of all the primetime air hours and watch time they're getting, they're spent an average about 10 hours or 640 minutes consecutively talking about this trial. But here's the weird thing. Not once in any of those times did they mention the angle of political prosecution. They don't even mention that Alvin Bragg is a registered Democrat who ran under the Democrat campaign and solely ran to get Trump in this exact situation. They don't even mention it. Now, the most interesting thing here, which let's open this up for discussion, is the fact that with this, the jury trial and the jury rules, right, and how there is no unanimous decision that has to be made. We have an attorney in the room who is very well versed in this stuff. Can you explain to us what they're trying to do and what's the problem with it?
Yeah, a lot of problems going on here. I mean, this is an illicit witch hunt prosecution. It is not intended to obtain a legally valid conviction of a criminal defendant. It is solely designed to take President Trump off the campaign trail. And to the extent they obtain a conviction, that the Court of Appeals will have to overturn it, but that could take years. So it'll undermine the first few years of a second Trump administration. I mean, they're going to poison a well that we'll be drawing water from for a very long time. We should all be concerned because this is what a banana republic looks like. When you bend the rules to go after political opponents, crime is rampant in New York, in Manhattan, and yet they're going to expend these resources on a made-up crime that is not supported by the facts or the law. But within the context of the closing sequence of the trial, a few things going on here. Number one, the president is charged with 34 different counts, and some of them require a predicate offense. Like he interfered with the election by committing this crime and doing X, Y, Z. The problem is the judge has declared and read to the jury in the jury instructions that they don't have to have unanimity. They don't have to be unanimous. All 12 of them don't have to agree on what the predicate crime is. That creates a roving commission. I mean, at that point, it's like, throw everything against the wall, see what sticks. Whatever you guys come up with is fine. That violates not only the president's Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial, it violates due process. How can he prepare for trial and defend himself? And it's like, anything could be a crime. You know, this when the jury instructions or when the law is provided by the judge in this context is so abstract that the jury is free to roam through the evidence as it sees fit and pick any old thing to hinge liability upon. That becomes really unfair. And so that's a significant legal problem. Since 2020, the United States Supreme Court in the case of Ramos v. Louisiana has held that juries in criminal trials must be unanimous. That wasn't always the case. Prior to 2020, there were two states that still didn't have a requirement for jury unanimity in criminal trials, Louisiana, and then Oregon for some lower level offenses. And in 2020, that all changed when the court handed down Ramos v. Louisiana. So this is a legal error of enormous magnitude that'll have to be corrected at the Court of Appeals. But it's just one more piece of evidence that this was an illicit witch hunt prosecution.
So forgive my ignorance on this, but if they don't all have to agree, and there's 12, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean 3 can think he was guilty of one thing, 3 can think he was guilty of something else, 3 can think he was guilty of something else, and 3 can think he was guilty of even something else? And because they all think he's guilty of something, he's guilty?
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. That's
Bro,
a roving commission.
That's insane.
That is completely, it violates.
So you could have 3 people that agree he did this and 9 that agree, that say he didn't. Yeah. But then because you have 3 that agree he did something else, dude, that's crazy.
It's an enormous problem.
Has that ever happened, ever?
So the basis for so in the federal rules, it's always required jury unanimity. Louisiana and Oregon in the late 1800s changed their state laws to eliminate the requirement for jury unanimity because of Jim Crow. They realized they had to allow people of every ethnicity, every skin color on juries. So they wanted to silence certain voices. So that's why they created this lack of jury unanimity at the state level in those 2 states. That was well outlined by Justice Neil Gorsuch in his opinion in Ramos v. Louisiana. And so again, the historical context here is terrible for the Democrats, right? I mean,
you have a black prosecutor using a racist technique to silence black people off of a jury to get a conviction on somebody he doesn't like. That's fucking insane, man.
Yep.
That's insane. Well, let's check in with Trump because he had a statement on this. This was earlier when he came out from break.
Dude, that's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It absolutely is insane.
When you're not going to read about that in the media.
Yeah, no.
Like they refuse
to talk about it.
Exactly.
Well, bro, I couldn't. This is why I wanted to ask you, because the information that's coming out of both sides has been very unclear of what that actually means and how that affects what's going on. I think that most people don't understand what we just talked about at all. Yeah. And I think if they did, they would be more outraged.
They would be appalled. People from both sides should be appalled.
I agree.
This is what Trump had to say.
Thank you very much. I would say, in listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt, because of the confliction, very, very corrupt. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job, and it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace, and I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. It's a very disgraceful situation. Every single legal scholar and expert said this is no case. It shouldn't be brought. And it certainly could have been brought 7 years ago, not in the middle of a presidential election. It was all done by Joe Biden. This judge contributed to Joe Biden, and far worse than that, but I'm not allowed to talk about it because I have a gag order. Far worse than that, by 1,000 times worse than that. The worst I've ever heard, but I can't talk about it. It'll be talked about, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. But it'll be talked about in the history books. What's happening here is weaponization at a level that nobody's seen before, ever. And it shouldn't be allowed to happen. So I'll stay around here. This is 5 weeks. And 5 weeks of really essentially not campaigning, although I took a big lead in the polls over the last few weeks. Something's going on. Because I think the people of this country see that this is a rigged deal. It's a weaponized deal for the Democrats to hit their political opponent. For Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States. He's destroying our country. He's letting millions of people from jails, from prisons, from insane asylums, from mental institutions, drug dealers pour in. Venezuela, if you look at their crime statistics, they've gone down 72% in crime because they're releasing all their criminals into our country because of this horrible president that we have. And then they have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. And he got He got maggoty. He got a big dose of it. But I just want to say it's a very unfair trial. It should have never happened. If it was going to happen, it should have happened 7 years ago. As you know, Bragg didn't want to bring it. The Southern District didn't bring it. The FEC didn't bring it. This judge didn't even let us use the #1 election attorney. He's making the rules. He doesn't know anything about elections. He doesn't know anything about voting and vote counts. He doesn't know anything about this stuff. That's not his profession. We had the leading election expert in the country, Brad Smith, ready to testify. Wouldn't let him do it. They wouldn't let another gentleman who represented, and you know very well, you saw it. It was the worst I think I've ever seen anyone treated on the stand. Bob Costello, wouldn't let him talk about all of the hundreds of emails that he was sent by a gentleman, another gentleman, who I can't mention because I'm gagged. Every time I speak to you, you ask me simple questions. I'm not allowed to give you the answer because I'm gagged by this judge. But we have a very, very serious problem here. I mean, our country's going bad. And remember, and let me just leave you with this. This is all because of Joe Biden and I don't even think it's him. I don't think he's smart enough to think about it. But it's the people that surround him in the office. They're smart. They're fascists, they're communists, but they're smart. And they're ruining our country. But we're going to win this election. November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. We're going to take back our country from these fascists and these thugs that are destroying us with inflation and with everything they do, how stupid they are, allowing 15, 16, 17 million people into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. We're going to bring back our nation November 5th. Remember, most important day in the history of our country. In the meantime, this trial is rigged. Thank you.
I'm glad he said communists.
I'm glad it's very specific.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they are, man. I think they just want this stuff right here. You remember those AI pictures came out about Trump getting locked up and stuff? That's what they want. That's what they want the people to see. Anything else on this topic, guys?
Yeah, the gag order I think is really important. There's a presumption against gag orders because they violate the First Amendment right to free speech. Mm-hmm. And a gag order is intended to protect, at least in part, the defendant's right to a fair trial. Well, then why would you gag the defendant? It's his right. If he wants to waive it in the same way you can waive your other rights, if he wants to be out there talking about it, and so that presumption against a gag order as violative of the First Amendment should be especially true when you've got a presidential candidate in the heat of a campaign. I mean, the gag order alone, in my mind, is like one of the most egregious things that's happened. And again, just one more piece of evidence that this is an illicit witch hunt prosecution.
What do you think he's talking about when he says 1,000 times worse?
I think that, again, there was a period of time where we used to elevate the rules of the game above the players and the outcomes. Mm-hmm. And instead of Alvin Bragg, if you go to his website, the Manhattan District Attorney, it says one standard of justice for all. How does that guy keep a straight face and say that? When crime is rampant in New York City and they're not locking up the drug dealers or the people assaulting innocent victims on the subways and stabbings and murders, they're not doing anything about that. But yet they're going to use the third-ranking official from Biden's Department of Justice and bring them in to assist at the trial court level prosecution of a presidential candidate on made-up charges, and then not allow the president to campaign or talk about it, and not give the jury the actual physical copy of the jury instructions, and not require unanimity on the predicate offense. I mean, it's like item after item after item after item that you line up here, and it even if you don't like President Trump, which personally I think he's great, but if you don't like President Trump, how can you possibly say that this system is fair, or that this system was intended or designed to protect the defendant's individual rights to a free trial?
Well,
fair trial.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's the repercussions of this going to be? Because clearly they're operating outside the boundaries of normal courtroom procedure. So you have Trump talking about, presidents get immunity, they get immunity, and clearly he's not getting it. So what is that going to mean for these guys if he gets back in power?
Well, to your point, yeah, I think this boomerangs. If the left is going to commit lawfare and we're going to undermine the rule of law, they should be prepared to experience that as well. And I think that's why there are certain people who may, like for instance, in today's Supreme Court decision, it was a 9-0 decision in favor of the NRA against the state of New York on a First Amendment claim. And even Sotomayor, who I believe wrote the opinion, probably looked at it and said, well, she may not be aligned with the NRA, but she doesn't want that happening to her advocacy political groups either. And so there's some people that can at least kind of pierce through that and see that for what it is.
So you think these people are potentially starting to realize that he might win, and that if they behave in this manner, that there could be repercussions on their stuff?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the deep state has been out to get Donald Trump since before 2016. Remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and the text messages? Yeah. The deep state of the DOJ was already plotting to undermine his presidency. And that same DOJ refused to prosecute Hillary Clinton for destroying government property that had classified information, refused to prosecute President Biden, who had classified information in his garage, but then throws everything they got after President Trump at both the federal and state level on, again, this illicit witch hunt prosecutions. It's fundamentally unfair. It offends our basic sense of fairness. It offends the law. It's enormously problematic.
I think the best thing about this is the precedence has been set.
I agree.
That's the best thing about it.
This is communist shit, dude. Like this is show me the man and I'll find the crime.
Yes.
That is not what the United States is built around.
No. Yeah. So I mean that's the best thing about
it.
And
I think people should really be concerned about this because, like Trump says, and this doesn't matter if you're left or right or in between. If they can do that to him, that means they could do it to you.
And they will. If they stay in power. They absolutely will. Guys, jump in on this conversation down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think down there. And speaking of comments, it's Crusoe.
All right.
How about that? We got some interesting stuff here. 69 Andy Stewart. He says, Biden has done more on infrastructure than any other president in living memory. Pay attention.
I think he left out destroying infrastructure.
Yeah. Done more to destroy infrastructure.
He must have left that out there.
Yeah.
You're right. He has done more to fuck it all up.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's funny? Because this guy writes this because they signed the fucking infrastructure bill, and he doesn't realize that infrastructure bill had nothing to do with infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, what was the thing? They spent like $12 billion that was budgeted for EV stations, but
they
only
got like
built
6 built.
They built like 7,
Yeah.
like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to have like 500,000.
Yeah.
It's been a few years.
Dude, it's weird to me how many people like believe so strongly that they understand what's going on. They don't understand what was that bill? 3,000 pages or some crazy shit. And they introduced it at the middle of the night. It was like in the middle of the night, and then they signed it the next day.
Yeah, they had 12 hours to read.
There's not a single human on the planet that could have read it.
No. And yeah, I mean, who knows what's in it? Who knows what they're voting on? I mean, the process there is so flawed. And I think special interest ends up winning and the people lose on stuff like that.
Yeah, dude.
100%.
And then we're looking at the infrastructure. Go look at Japan. Go look at China. Go look at Dubai. And then look at our shit. Okay. And you're telling me this dude, that anybody's been doing anything good for infrastructure? I mean, and dude, we could say that for Trump too. We could say that for the last 7 presidents. Our country looks like shit. Mm-hmm. We're way behind. So this isn't even a Democrat Republican thing. This is a corrupt politician thing. Like they take the money and they don't do what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. It's just an honesty thing, man.
Yeah. So Andy, your comment was pretty fucking stupid.
Good name.
Yeah.
Stupid ass comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
This next one comes from Harris Jeff Too Bad. Someone reads to need.
No, someone needs to read.
I think he's talking about you.
No, surely he's talking about me.
I mean, fuck you, Harris.
Hey,
all right.
He didn't want to say who it was because he didn't want to be called racist.
That's what. Yeah. Hey, listen.
That's what it was. Someone.
It's fine.
Those people.
I ain't worried about
that guy.
it. I ain't worried about
it. That one guy.
What's his name? What's he look like? What's the description?
What's he look like?
Fucking
He's
asshole.
a young man.
Oh man, fuck
he's got dark hair.
Where at? Fucking assholes, man. This last comment.
I mean, the motherfucker's not wrong.
Well, listen, man.
Harris Jeff.
Reading's hard.
I mean, you are learning.
Reading's hard. Listen, reading is fucking hard.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
No comment. I'll say this.
Something.
I'll say this, Jeff Harris. We should just play the episodes uncut.
Guys, this third and final comment comes from at Sarah Beck 6972. She says, school's out for summer, which means this teacher will be listening to the podcast on blast while working in my yard. Hope the neighbors like it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not trying to convince any kids to do weird shit. That's a fact. She's sneaking into the rooms, tearing down the pride flags.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Undercover ninja right there. That's what we like.
She's part of the team.
Hell yeah.
All right,
appreciate you, Sarah. Yeah.
Spread the word.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys for being real ass fans.
Yeah,
Keep
except
liking.
that first guy.
Yeah, except for, that first guy can fuck off.
Yeah.
Harris, you can too, bro. I ain't gonna lie. All right. But with that being said, let's get to headline number 2. Headline number 2 reads,
Moving along.
Biden tells black voters Trump wanted to tear gas them during peaceful George Floyd protests. This is my favorite. This might be my legitimately my favorite time of the year. Is every 4 years the election
When they
cycle.
start pandering.
I love the pandering. I love it, and this is great. This is great. I think this might almost top the fried chicken that Biden did.
Really?
Did you see that fried chicken stuff?
No.
Oh, bro.
He did a commercial where he was going to have dinner with a black family and brought fried chicken to the black family. Yeah. This guy really thinks this is how he's going to connect with the black community.
I mean, listen, I'll eat it. All right. I appreciate you bringing it. I'm going to eat it, but that's fucked up, man.
I know, but here's the thing. Okay, look, dude, I'll eat it too. I like fried chicken, man. You like fried chicken?
Love it.
Yeah, fried chicken's the shit. Everybody likes it.
Yeah, but
here's the thing. And by the
optics,
way,
man.
I'm tired of black people claiming it like it's theirs. I like fried chicken.
It is.
No, it isn't. It is not.
You can eat it.
Okay.
You can eat it. All right. But we all know what Colonel Sanders did.
What'd he do?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You're saying he stole?
He stole them 11 spices and herbs. Hell yeah, he did.
That's a pretty serious accusation.
I'm just saying. Well, I don't want to talk shit on the man.
Do you have any information to back that up?
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk about it. He's not here to defend himself, but
that's fair.
He stole their fucking chicken recipe, bro.
This is very in keeping with Biden's explanations during his initial presidential campaign about being the lifeguard at the pool or his conflict with Corn Pop and the dude
they make up these stories
and he's so out of touch. It's
Bro,
insanely.
But think about the meeting. Okay, we're all having a meeting and we're like, hey, all right, Joe, fucking black people hate you.
We got to fix this
Someone
somehow.
says, I got an idea. Here's what we'll do.
We'll bring him fried chicken.
I'll go on the morning, what's that show with the morning club?
Morning Joe?
No.
What was it?
Where he said, you ain't black.
Oh, the Charlemagne show.
Charlemagne the God. He goes on Charlemagne's show and he's like, I got an idea. I'll go tell them all they ain't black unless they vote for me. What the fuck, dude? Where's this dude getting his advisement from?
Bro, I don't know, man. But this is bad. This is...
I got an idea.
Seeds or no seeds?
I got an idea.
Watermelon. Seedless? All right.
We can get more black audience. I'm going to come to your house with some fried chicken.
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Popeyes, baby.
I'm a little surprised that Biden can still eat solid foods. I mean, he's usually gumming oatmeal before nap time.
Yeah, he is on a smooth diet for sure.
Ice cream.
For sure. But this is crazy. So while he was doing a I guess you can call it a rally of 52 people in Philadelphia, he said, let's just watch the clip. Let's watch the clip. Here's the clip.
Running again, and is clearly unhinged. He calls insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol patriots. Patriots. If reelected, he wants to pardon, quote, every one of them. Let me ask you, what do you think he would have done on January 6th if black Americans had stormed it? Think about this. What do you think would have happened if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? I don't think he'd be talking about pardons. It's the same guy who wanted to tear gas you as you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder. The same guy who still calls the Central Park Five guilty, even though they were exonerated.
Whatever.
He's that landlord who denies housing applications because of the color of your skin. He's that guy who won't say Black Lives Matter and invokes neo-Nazi Third Reich terms. We all remember Trump is the same guy who unleashed birthism, the birthism lie against Barack. And then Trump tells you he's the greatest president. I love this one. He says he's the greatest president for black people in the history of America, including more than Abraham Lincoln. I mean, can you fathom that? Where in the hell? Like I said, I think he injected too much of that bleach in his brain. I think it affected his brain.
What happened to his brain?
Somebody's brain is affected, that's for sure. But it's funny, man.
Well, hold on. So Trump wanted to tear gas black people when he was in power, when they were peacefully protesting,
right?
Which wasn't peaceful.
By no
Okay.
means.
And it was far more not peaceful than what happened to J6 by statistics alone.
Yeah.
Okay. But he wanted to tear gas them when he had the power to tear gas them, but didn't tear gas them.
He didn't.
So that's bullshit.
Fried chicken, anybody?
Yeah.
I mean,
How incredibly offensive that Joe Biden thinks if the everyone with a certain skin color thinks and behaves exactly the same way.
Yeah.
That is insanely offensive. I mean, and across the board.
It's messed up, man. I think what's also messed up too is like how they get on these campaign trails, these Democrats, bro, and like they just completely shit on 70% of the population. You know what I'm saying? Like that's messed up. That's messed up. Like they are so strongly trying to get this black vote this year, which I believe it's gone. Like they have lost it completely. I don't think they even have it anymore. But you know, it doesn't stop them from continuing to lie to people. This is another headline. Biden campaign co-chair. Americans have too many struggles right now to understand Biden's incredible achievements. How does...
Well, that's the point. That's actually the point. The point is to make things so hard, to make things so oppressive financially, to make times so hard, to make the division so strong that people can't see his incredible destruction of America. Yeah. That's the point. That's the exact point.
That's insane. Let's watch this clip real quick.
That's the game, bro. The game is a bunch of elite people, quote unquote elite, who believe they're elite, go to Washington, D.C., and they get us to fight. They get us to argue. They make policy that make it hard for us to be prosperous. If we had prosperity at a wide scale, if we weren't destroyed by taxes and the middle class was able to comfortably live and not panic and not be frustrated and not scrape together to pay their bills, we would notice the shit going on in society a lot easier, and they know that. So their goal is to create an environment of division and hardship so that they can get away with more shit that affects us in a negative way and benefits them. That is the entire game. That's the game that's being played. And until black people and white people and gay people and straight people and the people on the left and the people on the right start realizing that we're all seen the same way by those people, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
There has to be unity. And I'm talking common sense unity. Like, I'm not saying unity with the, pedophiles that are dancing at kids' schools and teaching them to do ridiculous shit. I'm talking about common sense people, common sense Democrats, common sense Republicans, common sense black people, white people, Asian people, Latino people. We need unity, because if we're united, they have no power.
It won't work.
And that's why they make it hard. So like when I read this, because I actually saw this last night, I was like, yeah, that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
His incredible achievements in the destruction of this country, because no one's destroyed more of this country in a shorter amount of time than Joe Biden.
He's breaking records.
Yeah.
He's breaking records.
That's statistical reality. That's not just bias or because, I don't like him. We could go down the statistics of this.
Yeah. Yeah, let's dive into what she said, because I actually got some fun fact checks on this lady. Let's see what she had to say.
Then I think the question is, if the campaign was in such good shape with black voters as President Biden has done in the past so many times, why would it be using its most valuable resource, the president, to hold so many events, 5 events targeting black voters in May of an election year?
You know, I think part of it is to show that we see how important that vote is. A lot of times people feel like their vote doesn't matter. A lot of people are going through a lot of struggles right now coming out of the pandemic, and they are not even aware of the things that this administration has done to really uplift our communities.
So is that evidence of why we're seeing some, I'm sorry to interrupt, is that evidence of why we are seeing some of the erosion right now, the need to sort of better communicate that so they can bring those black voters back?
You know, again, I think a lot of people have their own pains and things that they're dealing with. And so we want to make sure that we highlight the different investments that he has made, whether it is in our infrastructure and creating jobs, the lowest black unemployment rate in 50 years and probably ever for us. Investments in our black small businesses, which is why he was visiting small businesses today. When you look at the investment in education, you know, the $16 billion for HBCUs, and also student debt relief, which is one of the top issues that I hear about from black voters. I had a Capitol police officer stop me on my way into the Capitol, ask me to roll down my window, and he said, "My wife is a school teacher. She's been working for decades." We were able to get that debt relief, and it's the first time that we've been able to get out from under, and I feel like I hit the lottery. I want you to tell Joe thank you. We want to make sure that people see and hear those stories,
right,
and we're making those investments now because it is a priority.
Yeah. The HBCU
You mean
stuff?
the HBCU that Trump said, hey, we'll fund you forever, and you don't even have to come back and ask? And then Biden said, hey, you got to come back every year and ask.
Yeah, it's funny. And the numbers, you know.
So basically, you got to come back every year and beg us for money. Trump said, just so you guys, I'm being sarcastic. When Trump was in office, the HBCU that came in the office, Trump said, hey, we got you. You don't have to come back every single year like you've had to do forever. And then Biden changes that when he gets in office. And so now they're trying to play it like they're doing something great for HBCU when actually it's worse than what was happening during Trump.
Not only that, the $16 billion she's touting is completely off base. What's the actual facts is Trump funded them and gave them $45 billion. Biden dropped that to $2 billion. Okay, this is a actual fact. Let's dive in a little bit to that unemployment rate she's talking about, right? Biden has the lowest unemployment rate for black people. There's some little fuckery around there. That was actually Trump, and he set that record in 2019, which Biden was able to manage and scrape together to get to. However, it has since already been back up. They're lying. They're completely lying, man.
Dude, the problem is, DJ, is this goes in yes, they're lying, but the reason they're able to lie is because shit is so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, dude, who's worried about this shit when they can't pay their bills or they can't buy groceries or they can't pay for living expenses? Like, it's hard to pay attention to things like, I mean, have you ever been in financial distress?
Yeah.
I have too, bro.
Yeah.
And when you're fucking feeling that kind of weight on your shoulders,
it's fight or flight.
Yeah, dude. You can't worry about nothing else.
And Andrew, because you've been on the campaign trail, you've been in front of real people. What's it been like out there?
Man, people are tired of it. People are tired of the left telling them things are going well when they're feeling it when they go to the grocery store or the gas pump. And I mean, look, I've got 4 kids, and like, in September, we're trying to buy new shoes and backpacks for school and get kids on the school bus. And the president's touting the strongest economy. And it's like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like, are there some things going well? Of course there are. But the average working family is hurting because of the Biden inflation. And at the same time that's happening, like you said, he flings open the border. You have 10 million people who have come across the border illegally and are given work permits and everything else. And are now taking jobs that working Missouri families need and using up resources that we pay into for working Missourians. And so you're right. The left creates, and President Biden is directly responsible. His greatest achievement is creating chaos and disaster. That's the achievement. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're right. It's kind of hard to focus on anything else he's done because he's been so effective at destroying so much.
Dude, how do you feel like talking to these people when these guys get on TV and they brag about the economy being so great? How do you when you're talking to these people, I mean, don't they aren't people tired of feeling like they're just getting gaslighted?
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is the show me state. Like politics is different in Missouri.
Yeah.
Results matter.
Yeah.
I mean, people that just get up and talk, Missourians don't want to hear it, man. They want to see results.
Yeah.
And so if all you're doing is chirping, people aren't paying attention. And that's the problem with so many of these talking heads on the left. They're not able to point to results. That stuff might fly in New York and California, but here in the Midwest and specifically in Missouri, it's the show me state. Results are going to matter.
It's one of the things I'm most grateful for is being from Missouri, because it really doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican of course, we got crazy people on the right and crazy people on the left, the 2% of the polar opposites. But the reality is people do appreciate actual statistical reality. And it seems like in other places, that's not the case. It's like, like when one thing she said when she was talking, she said, Biden's taking care of small business. That's why he was visiting small businesses. Well, it doesn't matter if he's visiting small businesses. What matters is are they helping small businesses? And so they say these things to make people believe that they're actually doing something, when in reality, I could go down and visit 100 small businesses today. It doesn't mean they're going to be better.
Right. Not only that, how many small businesses could he not visit because they're closed permanently?
Well, they blame that on Trump. Everything that happened during the pandemic for that 2 years, they blame on Trump because he was in power when it happened. And I think, like we've said on the show, I think that's going to get worse and worse and worse as we go, because now we're starting, this is a different topic, but now we're starting to see vaccine injuries. We're starting to see all-cause death go up. We're seeing, 40% in some places. Dude, we're seeing crazy statistics. The MP from UK who was the first guy in UK to get the vaccine. Do you see this? Bro, first guy in the UK, the MP that had to get the vaccine, had to have all 4 limbs amputated for sepsis. Yeah, dude, he had it in 2021. Now he had all 4 of his limbs amputated. Like, we're seeing, and by the way, that's horrible shit.
It's terrible.
I'm not like sitting here gloating and saying, oh, see, I'm not one of those people.
Still got my hands.
Dude, listen, I actually look at those people and think they're victims. I don't look at those people like, yes, they were ignorant. Yes, they were mean. Yes, they were aggressive. But they're the ones walking around worried and fucking dealing with this shit. And I think that they're starting to admit a lot of these things so that they can turn it on Trump and be like, Trump rushed the vaccine and now look at all this stuff. And I think that's going to get worse and worse as the election. I think that's their October play. Their October play is to turn all of that onto him. But when they say, getting back to your point, like you say, the closed businesses, they blame that on Trump.
The student loan thing, real quick, I think that's really telling. So they're saying that, hey, one of his greatest accomplishments is helping pay off people's student loans. Now, he's doing that illegally, unconstitutionally, in an attempt to buy votes. Let's not be mistaken. Congress has twice, 2019 and 2021, rejected bills that would have canceled student loan debt. And he's using the Higher Education Act of 1965 that allows for amendment to repayment terms. Well, the words amendment to repayment terms are different than the word cancel. There's no such thing as canceling. Any working family or small business owner will tell you there's no such thing as canceling debt. Somebody pays it. That's going to cost the American taxpayers $500 billion. In Missouri, it'll cost us north of $44 million. That's why we filed suit against it. So the same people that are sitting here telling you we're going to fix your kitchen table issues are exacerbating the Biden inflation that's hurting all of us. So it's a gimmick. Again, it's creating crisis and catastrophe that ultimately inflicts more pain so then they can promise a remedy that is empty at best.
Well, and that's their MO. They come in every 2 years, every 4 years. They say all this shit they're going to do. Then they do the opposite and they walk out with millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Or right at the end, they can promise to fix it or do small things, make it appear as if they're fixing issues just to get the votes.
Well, what I was thinking about is like, how do all these blue collar Americans feel? Like, how do all these plumbers, these construction workers, these concrete guys, these roofers, these people who didn't go to college necessarily, but then went into the trades, how do they feel that they're paying the debt off for people that went to school for 4-6 years for liberal arts or to really for anything? Like, how is it now? Yeah. How are we now saddling the blue collar, salt of the earth, backbone of our country with the debt of a bunch of privileged fucking assholes?
Starbucks baristas.
Like, dude, I wonder how they feel about that, because I'll tell you this. I'm not a blue collar guy, but that pisses me the fuck off. That pisses me off.
I've got friends that didn't come home from Iraq that paid for their school in blood, sweat, and tears. And now there's a widow who grieves every Memorial Day, because that soldier needed a way to pay for school. And you're right. I mean, we cannot let Joe Biden saddle working Missouri families with Ivy League debt. That's what the lawsuit against it is all about. And at the end of the day, even if you think it's a good idea for the federal government to pay off student loans, surely we can all agree Congress has the power of the purse, not the president. And when we've seen Congress reject those bills twice, and you can look at the plain text of the law and see that the president does not have the authority to do what he's doing, surely we can agree this is not the proper way to achieve that policy objective.
Well, so let's say you sue him and you win.
Yeah.
What happens to those people that got their debt wiped out?
Well, I mean, that's the problem. We've already beat him once before. We
put it back in there?
Well, the federal government's going to have some explaining to do for sure. And look, we've won this case once before. Eric Schmidt filed it. I took it. I moved it forward. I sat at council table representing the state of Missouri in February of 2023, and we won. This time last year, we got the decision that struck down his first attempt to quote unquote cancel that. Again, I would tell you there's no such thing as canceling debt, but his attempt to saddle working Missourians with Ivy League debt. Well, what's scary is that now he's doing it again, and he's on the stump on the campaign trail flaunting it, saying, the Supreme Court told me no, I'm going to do it anyway. At what point do we call this a constitutional crisis? Like, if Donald Trump had done that and said, I don't care what the Supreme Court says, I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't care that Congress hasn't empowered me to do it. I'm going to do whatever I want.
He's fucking Hitler, bro.
Right. And yet Biden gets a pass on all of that.
Yeah. But, dude, these people are doing all the shit that they accused Trump of doing. And Trump did none of this stuff. Trump's going to take us to World War III. Oh, really? There wasn't a war the entire time he's in office. Now look at what's going on. Trump's going to ruin the economy. Oh, really? Look, dude, this is insane shit. And I'm really concerned about what the lengths they're willing to go to sabotage the election and maintain power because, dude, these people very clearly understand and what they're afraid of. The reason they're trying so hard, like with this court case and all these things, is because they are very worried that Trump is going to weaponize the same way that they did. And they know that they're guilty. And so, dude, he should,
which he should.
Or the people should.
Again, we can't just keep sitting back and allowing these
I don't think that's going to happen, dude. I think they've pushed people we're getting close to a boiling point where this is not going to be accepted. And I don't think people are going to sit around and just tweet about it either. And I don't think it's going to be, I don't see the local sheriffs and police departments getting in the way of people being pissed about this because it's hurting them too. Like, you think all these police officers, these guys out here, that they're being ordered to do this and that, and they're getting hurt by these policies, you think they support this clown? No, they're afraid to lose their job because shit is so hard, they don't know what to do. So by creating this environment where things are exceptionally hard on everybody, it forces everybody to sort of comply because it's like, well, shit, if I don't comply, dude, I'm gonna starve. And so that's the play of what's going on. But I don't think, dude, I don't know. I feel like people are getting to a boiling point for real. Like, culture is to a point where these people are exposing themselves. People are starting to realize what's going on. And I don't think they're going to be able, the only thing I think that they can do, that I think they might do, is flip the table over somehow, create such a crisis, like flip the power grid off or something for 2 weeks or something. I don't know,
just
man.
to shake it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, jump in on this conversation down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. With that being said, let's get to our third and final headline number 3. Speaking of flipping the game board over, we're on a World War III watch. This headline reads, Blinken hints U.S. may accept Ukrainian strikes in Russia with American arms. This is hot off the press. This just came out. And this could have some very significant implications if it goes through. So Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken suggested on Wednesday that the Biden administration could be open to tolerating strikes by the Ukrainian military inside Russia using American-made weapons, saying that the United States would, quote, adapt and adjust its stance based on changing conditions on the battlefield. Mr. Blinken said that the United States had neither encouraged nor enabled such attacks, but he said that the Ukrainians needed to make their own decisions on how to best defend themselves, a position he has stated before, and that the United States government had, quote, adapted and adjusted as necessary as the war evolves. When asked by a reporter whether his words, quote, adapt and adjust means the United States could support attacks by Ukraine with American-made weapons inside Russia, he said, quote, adapt and adjust means exactly that, meaning those words signaling flexibility from Washington. Now, would they do that? Well, it's interesting because we already did. U.S.-made munitions were just used in deadly strike on Rafah tent camp over in Palestine.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget, Nikki Haley signed those bombs.
She did sign those. Yeah. I saw that.
Saying finish them.
It's insane. And this is coming from CNN, our favorite people. Munitions made in the United States were used in the deadly Israeli strike on a displacement camp in Rafah on Sunday. A CNN analysis of video from the scene and a review by explosive weapons expert has found at least 45 people were killed and more than 200 others injured after a fire broke out following the Israeli military strike on the outskirts of Gaza's southernmost city, most of them women and children, according to the Gaza Health Ministry and Palestinian medics. Footage obtained by CNN showed swaths of the camp in Rafah in flames, with scores of men, women, and children frantically trying to find cover from the nighttime assault. Burned bodies, including those of children, could be seen being pulled by rescuers from the wreckage. Israel's escalating assault on Rafah, where some 1.3 million Palestinians were taking shelter before Israel began its operation there, has drawn swift international condemnation, with United Nations agencies, aid groups, and multiple governments calling on Israel to immediately halt its offensive. So we have a precedent already being set. They're already doing that. Do we see Ukraine following similar actions here?
I think what's scary is the point that you made earlier, and that is when Donald Trump was in office, bad actors on the international stage were afraid to commit bad acts because they didn't know what he would do. And when he did have to take action, like he did in Syria, it was surgical, it was swift, it was proportional. And so there was a methodology to the foreign policy. It made sense from like an objective, logical standpoint. What are we doing? Like, what is going on out? You've got North Korea saber-rattling. You've got China saber-rattling at the Taiwan Straits. You've got Russia invades Ukraine, doesn't show any signs of letting up. I don't know that. I don't see any end to that. That's a never-ending war.
Well, I mean, Russia's making $400 million a month for that war. They're making, right? So they spend like $100 million a month.
Depending on who you ask, Ukraine's obliterated anyway.
Yeah.
So they can't.
Their numbers are done. The numbers are done, which is probably why they're talking about the strikes now, and escalating to strikes inside of Russia. Dude, if that happens and it comes out that it's U.S.-made missiles, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a major problem.
But we're this concerned about the border between Ukraine and Russia and doing nothing
about ours.
About the southern border of the United States of America? I mean, that's shameful.
That's my argument too, bro.
How is it that we're not putting Americans first?
Yeah.
That is the most shameful, deplorable aspect of the Biden administration to date.
It's
listen, I don't care about any one of these four countries. Israel, Russia, Palestine, Ukraine, they can all go get fucked. We have too many problems inside of our own country right now that are being abandoned intentionally, right? And like, I could care less for any one of them.
I agree with you. And I also, it makes me super annoyed at how passionate people get about these conflicts that are, on the other side of the globe, and they don't say shit about what's going on here. It's like, dude, you're falling into the trap. The trap is to get you concerned about these things going on over there, so you ignore all the things going on over here. And if you ignore all the things going on over here and you allow them to fund all these things going on over there, you're also allowing them to whittle the money back to their own fucking pockets. So like, it's part of the game. Get riled up about Ukraine. Get riled up about Israel. Don't look over here though. Don't look over here in your own neighborhood. It's all a big shell game for them, in my opinion, to fleece the Americans of their tax dollars. Dude, there's not another country on this fucking planet that works like we do only to send our money other places. That doesn't exist. Like, we're the biggest slaves in the entire world. Why are we paying more than half of our total income? And people always love to argue this. It's not half of my income. Oh, really? Well, do the math. It's not just income tax. What about all the other tax? Okay, and if you do all the other tax, you work for the government. And you work for the government to take that money and send over to these other places that will never benefit you. What is it about America? How is that free? How is that free? Oh, the land of the free. How?
I agree completely. I think philosophically, humans are designed and intended to be an end unto ourselves, not a means to another's end. And to your point, the system of tax and spend has made us a means to someone else's end, a means to the government's end. And that
never ends.
And it never ends. And
you know what I think about, man? I think in the summers when I was in high school, I did concrete work. All right. And I did form setting. All right. And that's hard. That's a hard job, dude, especially in the summertime. And dude, I never really acclimated to that job. And I'm not sure anybody does. Like, when you go home at night, you're sore, you're tired. Like, you worked. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And not out of disrespect, but what it did was taught me that I better figure something out. Otherwise, I'm going to do that my whole life. And no disrespect to the guys that do it. I have the utmost respect to the guys that do it. But that's a hard life. And what I think about is those guys going out, working 8, 12 hours a day to try to get some overtime, take care of their families, and then them being taxed in this way for the money to be sent over there and their kids to get fucked in our school system. And to this guy's point, our infrastructure's terrible. We have these homeless veterans. We can't afford groceries. There's all this stuff going on, and we're paying for that. How is that okay? That's not okay. That's not okay for a grown American man to go to work and sacrifice his mind, his health, and his body to pay for his family, only for that money to be sent to fucking Ukraine or anywhere else. That's not okay, bro. And that's a fundamental problem with our government system that we need to fix. There's so much more that needs to be fixed than just electing Trump. Like, there is fundamental realignment of this country that needs to happen. And dude, you know, I guarantee you, dude, there's tons of blue collar guys right now, and they're like, fucking right, bro. Because that shit's hard.
Yeah. When it's not just the taxes themselves, the income tax, personal property tax, sales tax. It's the ghost taxes, regulations, where to get a market to product, a corporation has to jump through so many hoops that it drives the cost up to where average folks can't afford it, or the inflation where Biden prints money so fast that the dollars we do have in our pockets are worth half as much as they should be.
25% less than they were in 2020.
The tax code is bad enough, but the ghost, when you couple with that the ghost taxes, it's probably it's well over 50%.
Bro, especially for entrepreneurs. And people don't think that. People think, as an entrepreneur, you know, I buy this energy drink for 1 penny and I sell it for $4. That's not the case. Like, you guys need to go look into it. And then you got Biden on TV blaming it on the CEOs of these companies, saying they're gouging you. Dude, did you not take a basic economics course? If things cost more, they cost more. You know, and it comes down to the consumer. Because otherwise, if it doesn't, there's no profit margin. We're not the government. I can't just go turn on my money machine over there to keep the company going. Like, this is a real thing. And it doesn't just affect 1 or 2 businesses. It affects all of them, which affects every person in this country that consumes anything. So, like, dude, there's so many problems here that people just don't want to. I just don't think they're in a place to really understand because they're struggling so hard. I think they've got us in the perfect place. They know exactly how much money they can take from us with us not going under, and they keep us right in that spot of extreme struggle where we're always swimming, but we don't really get anywhere. And what's interesting to me is, you know, you have all these socialist people that believe in this, but they don't understand that concept. It's like, dude, you are in exactly what you want.
Yeah, you got what you wanted.
Yeah, you're living in what you want, and you don't like it. You guys think that socialism or communism brings you a utopia. No, never in the history of communism has it worked. And they say, well, that's not real communism. No, Real communism
real
is
communism.
that. You starve.
Yeah.
Because the producer stopped producing because it becomes a lost cause. You get taxed to the point where you can't make any money, and then you have to come into work every day and bust ass and sacrifice your life, your mental sanity, everything for nothing. And those people eventually just say, fuck it. And then everybody starves. That's what happens. And dude, there's a book about it called The Red Famine, or you could read Atlas Shrugged, but you won't because it's 1,000 pages long.
Great book.
Yeah.
Great book.
It describes exactly what's going on.
It does. It does. The producers stop producing. At the point in which people are not an end unto themselves or a means to another's end, what's the point in doing anything? I agree with one of the central tenets that every human interaction should be by mutual consent to mutual benefit. When you get to a socialist state or a communist state, everything is coerced and compelled. There is no free will. There is no choice. It's all tyranny. And that's, again, the reason we have a constitution is to protect us from the government. The reason we have a government is to protect our rights. That's the conversation we need to be having in this country is what is the purpose of what is our national identity? In my mind, it's the Constitution. What is the purpose of our government? It's to protect our rights and give us a forum to adjudicate disputes over those rights. And if we can unify around that, we can restore the health and welfare of this nation until we can come to common consensus there. And we're arguing over, people that want lighter sentences for child molesters.
Yeah.
It's hard to even start the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and also, dude, let's be honest. The financial literacy of our country is one of the lowest in the world. And that's intentional. They don't teach us when we're in high school to balance checkbooks and balance personal finance, or what simple interest does, or what compounding interest does, or how to invest, or how to be successful. They don't want you to be successful because the poorer that you are, the easier you are to manipulate and control. And this is why they teach you that making money and becoming successful is some sort of morally inferior position in life, right? What better way to keep people in poverty than to get them to believe that it's bad from a moral standpoint, right? Like, bro, this is manipulation. You've all been manipulated your whole life about these things so that you can be a controlled, easy, non-disruptive little peasant that they get to do whatever they want. And you go to work and they take 60% of your shit and fuck you. And that's our government, dude.
And don't pay it.
Yeah, that's right. Taxation is theft. No, it's not. It's extortion because you go to jail if you don't fucking pay it.
Exactly. Guys, jumping on this conversation down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. With that being said, man, we got our last segment of the show, guys. We got thumbs up or dumb as fuck. This is where we bring a headline in, we talk about it, and it'll get one of those two options. So with that being said, our thumbs up or dumb as fuck headline reads, Judge dumbfounded when man with suspended license joins court Zoom call while driving a car. First of all, I love this judge. I watch this shit on YouTube all the time. He's awesome. His name is Cedric Simpson, Judge Simpson. He's hilarious. But let's dive into this a little bit. So this is a New York Post article reading. His legal defense was a total car crash. I love when they put those little puns. They get me sometimes.
They make you laugh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's like your level of humor.
Yeah, they deserve some trophies.
They're like terrible. And
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's all right.
If we had a paper, that would be your responsibility to write the jokes that aren't funny.
The leading headline, yeah. A Michigan judge was astonished when a man busted for driving with a suspended license appeared before him in a courtroom Zoom call while driving a car. Corey Harris, 44, popped up on screen behind the wheel as Washington County Judge J. Cedric Simpson flashed a dumbfounded facial expression on May 15th. Mr. Harris, what are you driving? It's so great. He says, quote, Mr. Harris, are you driving? Simpson asked. According to footage posted by MLive.com, Simpson casually confesses that he is. Here's the clip.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks if the court would allow.
This is his defense attorney.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And
Look at the dude's face.
He's like,
He
oh,
didn't have a
shit.
license.
Is with the charges, Your Honor. Yes.
No, I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
What a dumbass, man.
Dude.
You could have blurred your screen or something.
Dude.
Are you driving? Yeah, let me just pull into this parking lot real quick.
No, he tried to play it off. He's like, actually,
I'm parking.
that's like the key term when people are full of shit. Well, actually,
Oh,
I
man.
was driving.
I love this judge, man. Judge Simpson's awesome.
Damn, dude. That guy's heart sunk. He's like, I got to go to jail.
6 p.m. today.
And if he goes to jail at 6 p.m., he knows he's not getting out that day.
Ain't no
Man, it is hard to go to jail on a driving while suspended case. That might be the one thing that'll land you there. It's just like complete and open defiance of the law. Like you
And
don't
ignorance of your own defiance. Like he doesn't even know.
Like, wow.
man.
Dude, what is he thinking?
Nothing. I wonder, I would have, if I was a judge, where are you going? Like, I would have wanted to know where he's pulling up to.
Oh, he said doctor's office.
No, he ain't pulling up to no doctor's office.
Look, man, why would you not just like step outside the car and just like be like, I'm at the park?
Yeah, I'm taking a walk in the park. Yeah. I'm definitely not driving. Yeah. Fuck, man. I don't know, man. You can't, you can't
He's
fix.
like, oh shit.
Just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Man, that
Having
is a bad day.
Yeah, it's just a really awful day.
Now he gets to have some bologna sandwiches.
Yep. On the state that you paid for.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we giving this, guys?
I mean,
Thumbs up?
this is thumbs down.
Yeah, okay. Thumbs
Yeah.
down. What we got?
Yeah, man. This guy, I mean, he's too dumb to.
Could you defend him as a client? Like,
No. I mean, his own
couldn't
attorney. I mean, that's what. But honestly, from a legal perspective, look, I've spent a lot of my professional life in courtrooms, and I've seen some dumb stuff. This takes the cake. But his attorney, like, throwing him under the bus, and like, what, wasn't he driving just now? Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
that's a
was.
judicial admission. That statement is now attributed to the defendant.
Oh.
She's admitting that he's currently committing a new crime for which he could face additional criminal charges. I mean, he probably has a great civil suit against his attorney for making that admission without consulting him first.
I mean, what was she supposed to say? She couldn't lie to the
No,
judge.
she was caught too.
But
She can't plead the fifth.
yeah, I mean, she should. I believe she probably should have said something like, "We'll have to check on that, Your Honor. I'm not with my client right now. I'm not sure what he's doing right now. I can neither confirm nor deny what he's doing right now, Your Honor. We'll have to get back to you on that. Like, Your Honor, I would ask that my client not answer any questions related to investigation of other criminal matters until I have a time to
I
consult
would
with
have
him."
held you in contempt, dude. I would. You going to jail too, bro?
It's a green screen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Look, there's a reasonable explanation here.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
find one. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Judge Simpson don't play, bro. He does not play.
I would say dude, listen, put me up there. Man, I'd be a good judge.
I think I would be a pretty good judge.
Yeah.
I think I'm
The
pretty.
only problem is I don't know the law.
That's fine.
They don't know it either.
They don't know it either.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're guilty, dude. You're going to jail, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's just that simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's done.
Look at his face says it all. He's like, oh shit.
Well, guys, Andy, Attorney General Bailey, that's all I got.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Thanks for having
It's
me on,
always
guys.
good to see you and chat. And bro, you're doing great work. Just one thing before we go. What do we have going on with the free speech stuff?
Yeah, so we're waiting on a decision from the United States Supreme Court. We argued the case back in March, the same day that the case NRA v. Vulo was argued.
Yeah.
Today, the court handed down in a 9-0 decision in favor of the First Amendment right to free speech, the decision in NRA v. Vulo. So we could be within a few days, few weeks. We should be within the next 30 days. The court should hand down the decision in Missouri v. Biden. We're kind of anxiously waiting. I think it's at the end of the day, this is a ruling on a preliminary injunction at a preliminary stage of the proceedings. And the court, regardless of what happens, we should end up back down at the trial court getting into the merits of the case. But I think it's a good sign that, again, 9-0 ruling in favor of the First Amendment today. And the court in the Vulo decision actually in a footnote referenced Missouri v. Biden's the ruling from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So kind of an interesting lineage.
Foreshadowing a little bit.
What's So what would be the result if they rule in your favor for that?
Well, a complete victory would be upholding the trial court's preliminary injunction against government collusion to silence American voices on big tech.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be,
because Biden appealed this. That's what this is.
Yeah,
right?
the Department of Justice wants to be able to silence you on social media.
And they do.
And they do. Yeah, they absolutely do. Yeah.
So is that a first step? I'm just curious about this because I don't know. I didn't know. Did you know that they took down my page?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So, and I got it back, but we had to go to Jim Jordan to get it back. So is this a first step towards amending or changing Section 230 and their ability to censor us?
It should. Yeah. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act is the fount of the problem here. And it's created a government-controlled cartel of these big tech social media corporations that are free from the normal open market impulses that would protect against censorship. That being said, it also gives the government enormous leverage to coerce these big tech social media corporations into conducting their censorship regime for them, because they can always threaten to amend or repeal Section 230. So it's problematic for those two reasons. It's both a sword and a shield for big tech. But
so do what we say, or we'll change this, and you can't do any of it.
You'll lose your cash cow.
Yeah.
You'll have open market competition, and you may not survive.
Yeah.
If you have open market competition, then you and I could say, well, I'm not using the censoring platform. I'm using the freedom platform.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think in this country, 230 notwithstanding, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act notwithstanding, we've got to build a wall of separation between tech and state. Mm-hmm. That we would not tolerate that level of collusion and coercion in any other marketplace. In other words, if we were talking on our cell phones and we started talking about a topic that the government didn't like and the government started muting us on that cell phone, we wouldn't tolerate that. Or if all of a sudden we were getting newspapers, which I realize print media is largely dead, but that where large sections were redacted at the government's demand, no one would tolerate that. Why is it that we tolerate that on big tech? Why is that marketplace different? And it's because the censorship goes on in the shadows where we can't see it and don't know about it. And that's the problem. And that's why you've got to have that wall of separation between tech and state long term to protect our right to free speech on social media platforms.
So you would say that if we win this first case, the next one we're going to try to do is fix that.
Yeah, I think that the preliminary injunction we obtained on the 4th of July last year is the first brick in the wall of separation between tech and state, and we can use this lawsuit to continue building upon that wall. Eventually, Congress is going to have a role to play here. I mean, not only with Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, but with holding officials in the government who are participating in the censorship regime accountable, eliminating those portions. Let's just cut the fat, get rid of that part of the government altogether. But to the extent that you still need those entities, how about appointing like an ombudsman or an inspector general to monitor compliance with the court order that we've obtained?
Yeah.
I mean, things like that can help us. We can use merits discovery to root out the vast censorship enterprise, but Congress has a role to play here as well. We got to work together to build that wall.
Well, we got to get that done, man, because that's creating a situation of uneven playing field, even in business.
Yeah.
Because of that. So
market manipulation.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Well, hey, brother, look, we really appreciate you coming on. I know DJ and I and the team here and our audience really appreciate the work that you're doing. It's a big deal. It's historically relevant. And if there's anything that we can do to support that, you just let us know.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for covering these important stories.
Yeah, thanks. All right, guys, that's the show. Don't be a hoe.
Share the show.